So it'd be an environment that has, many of the reasons why people leave in the first place. So the suppression of freedom of speech, arbitrary detention, among others, and refugees themselves have, felt the effects of this. That just a few years ago, refugees were shot and killed for protesting and cuts to food rations in camps in Rwanda. And it's important to note that just in 2021, the UK government raised some of these concerns about Rwanda's track record.
Well, through this policy, is the UK merely just offloading the responsibility of asylum seekers onto other countries?
Yes, I think that's exactly what's happening. And we're seeing this in place within, a broader trend of this happening that obviously, in Australia, we've seen it for years, decades now. Other countries, Israel also had a deal with Rwanda that did not go well, but was pursued for years. Denmark is now looking to do something similar with its asylum seekers. It's a very worrying trend that means that the right to seek asylum is changing.
And this in turn puts an increased onus on others, aid groups, for example.
Absolutely. I'd say that there's something, sadly ironic about seeing, refugees leaving countries such as Rwanda, which we know will likely happen given the track record of, Israel's deal and where refugees went once they reached Rwanda. So an increased onus on aid agencies that are trying to support them, who often are funded by the UK government.
And what kind of impact would this policy have on Rwanda itself?
Well, I would say you can probably look at it at different levels. So I'd say it legitimizes the government, and it's a government, as we've discussed, with a very bad track record. So that's problematic in and of itself, but also in terms of the onus on local hosts. Rwanda doesn't host many refugees, but it's a very small country, very densely populated. So is it fair to bring more people into a country that is already struggling with many other challenges, high rates of poverty among them?
How much opposition is there to the policy, both internationally and domestically?
I'd say there's huge opposition. Just this morning, I spoke with someone from the New York Times who's covering this story. The UK population in general, I'd say, is very, very against it. And there's some amazing solidarity movements, lawsuits and so on.
And despite all of this, the UK government is trying to push forward with its plans. How successful has it been? Are flights taking off today with migrants on board?
Yes, and I would say not migrants, but asylum seekers. So these are people that came to the UK that are seeking safety and very well may be refugees who have the right to stay in the UK. But instead, yes, are being sent away today. The first flight is taking off with likely under 10 people on board at the cost of 500,000 British pounds.
And I understand the policy will be reviewed at the end of July, but in the meantime, these deportations will just continue to take place.
That's the worry. There's already appeals being made that will be heard. So we're hopeful that other people won't be on these flights. But that's the plan. The UK government is pressing ahead. It's deciding that this is, not illegal. It's not, breach of international human rights, as the UN Refugee Agency and other international bodies are saying that it is. So yes, there's a high chance that these will go ahead.
But you'd like to see this policy stopped altogether?
Absolutely. Absolutely. For the cost of it, for the cost of the humans on board, the humans that are being sent to different places who are in need of safety, there's no need for this money to be spent in this way. There's no need for people to be treated like this. There are many other options that include, humane conditions for people and humane choices for people. I would say that I'm hopeful that this will be stopped because there's no basis for this. This is not saving money in the long run. This is not helping people in the long run. There's absolutely no evidence that this is deterring, the traffickers and the smugglers, which the UK government would like us to believe it is as a policy. We haven't seen evidence for that.
But what are the government's arguments? Why is it so adamant that it should go ahead?
So the rhetoric is couched in really the securitization of migration, saying that, migrants, I'll call them asylum seekers who are often refugees, but that they're threats, or that the ways that they're trying to enter the UK is illegal, so through smuggling or trafficking. So there's this rhetoric that people are in need of safety, and so stopping in migration to the UK is a way to do that. And the evidence does not show that. We have no evidence that this will stop any of that.
What alternative arrangements are there? What are you recommending?
The UK can take in asylum seekers. The UK is one of the richest countries in the world, along with the United States, which is the country I come, also one of the richest countries in the world. There is the ability to spend money on people that are in need of safety. There's the ability to give people fair hearings, to really go through the very, very onerous criteria of whether they meet refugee status, of which many people do.
Evan, Easton-Calabria, thanks so much for talking to us.
Yeah, you're very welcome.